All right, guys, just finished watching the World Finals live stream from Japan of our Digimon Worlds Finals this year, this season. Lots of epic matches, lots of news to digest, lots of awesome reviews, but we're going to be talking about the ban list specifically in this video. So if you guys haven't seen the live stream yet, be sure to check it out. I'll leave a link in the description box down below as well as in the pinned comments. Definitely check it out if you guys haven't seen it or missed it. But man, let's just get right into the ban list. Now, first thing is usually they actually post the ban list on the rules on the official Digimon website. But this time, because I guess if you're watching the live stream, we get to see it exclusively early before everyone else, which the website hasn't been updated yet. But by the time when the website updates, I'll also post a link to that as a follow-up so you guys can check it. But it's official, guys. These are going to be some crazy, crazy hits. I've seen a little bit of a sneak peek, but let's just go ahead and talk about it. The first card is gonna be this Matt Ishida from BT2, which is outright banned, and you cannot play any copies of it in your deck, meaning it's gonna join Mega Digimon Fusion, so you can no longer play this card in the game, which is absolutely insane. I actually didn't expect this at all. I have to say, like, I personally love playing Purple Hybrid because I love Dustmon, and Matt really enables and guarantees that kind of loop because you can always go into Dustmon, Velgor combo, delete yourself, and then loop the Matt over again, play it out, and grab the Dustmon over and over, so you can pretty much infinitely have a Dustmon play every turn. And the thing is, I feel like Matt is actually really, really important to the deck because if you think about it, Matt is actually the card that enables you to play a Dustmon because it starts your memory at 3, meaning if you Digivolve Dustmon on top of the 3 cost, it guarantees you that hybrid play every single turn compared to Koichi or any other Purple Tamer. Like, this is just, yeah. I'm actually shocked. I'm really interested to see what their reasoning is by the time if they actually do post this, but I think this is the obvious. It's just because of how oppressive Purple Hybrid has been. The combos as being able to execute is just really, 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 really crazy. There's the other card, which we're going to talk about later on, which I know a lot of the people in the community has been mentioning, Jack Raid as well being part of it. I think maybe just hitting Jack Raid wasn't enough for Bandai. Like, this is a card that they're like, you know what? Even with Jack Raid getting hit, this deck can still function because of this card. And wow, I'm really interested to see where Purple Hybrid now takes moving forward because Dustmon, yeah, being one of my personal favorite Digimon, I guess we can't play it anymore. Sadly, unfortunately. Maybe we'll find some ways, we'll cook some ways, but yeah, it's time to get back into the kitchen and start cooking up some recipes. Moving on to the next card. A new banned pair. Now, for those who don't know what banned pair means, it means that you cannot play the deck or your deck cannot include both these cards. Of course, the infamous Mother and Shoto combo right here, because being able to have a blocker that is completely immune with Mother's own effect and is 15k is not easy for all decks to sort of go over. It does make the gameplay experience not as fun, and I know a lot of people, again, you guys in the community have been asking for this already, so I guess ask and you shall receive. But yeah, the second banned pair. The first banned pair is, I believe, I recall, is like the Galaxy Tamers, the Coincido, the blue one, and then you can't play Zuba-Igamon like the promo one because Galaxy Loop was a thing back in the day, like the actual pure Galaxy Loop, which infinitely you can just like play forever in your turn. Not the current Galaxy deck, but anyways, here. Yeah, no more Mother Shoto, no more big blocker, no more unstoppable wall. I personally don't really have much of an attachment to this just because I never really played this combination of decks generally. So I'm okay with it. But the next card, we're hitting Blinding Ray. I mean, free memory gain is maybe just too good. Like, there's been a lot of interesting conversations, I think, in the community mentioning that every memory gaining card should get hit in general, because, you know, being able to suddenly gain a lot of memory gives you a lot of free momentum and just even trashing your security. But if that 2 memory helps you secure your win con or push you into a much bigger lead, I think it's just way too good. I think that's sort of how it's kind of perceived. And with Blinding Ray, Jack Raid, which we talked about a little bit earlier, is also getting hit. And these cards are now down to 1. Blinding Ray is down to 1. Jack Ray is down to 1. We'll talk for the rest of the cards in this video. We're talking about cards that are hit down to 1, so you can only include 1 copy in your deck. We all know this is, you know, Purple Hybrid is the main culprit of this. You know, being able to play your Jack Rays nonstop, Matt loops your Jack raids so that you can continuously, you know, play again and again. In the late game stages, you're gaining 2 to 3 memory, which is a lot. And yeah, I definitely saw this coming. I think a lot of people have been calling for it. On top of that, Jack Raid just scales very well with purple decks, but it also has a security effect on top of it too, which is pretty much why it's that insane. Now, I want to talk about another card as a, you know, just to bring up a discussion. Now, this card, Gravity Crush, just to be really clear right here, this is not hit at all. It is not on the list whatsoever, at least from the time that I saw on the live stream. But I wanted to bring this to your attention because Gravity Crush has exactly sort of like a similar concept, right? Just as like Blinding Ray and Jack Ray, but the difference is that at the end of your turn, you have to lose 2 memory, so you can kind of like give your opponent 2 more to work with. But I feel like, does this mean it has a similar concept, right? Because you're suddenly gaining 2 memory out of nowhere. Is it too powerful? Is it too strong? Because there are times that if you're able to play multiple Gravity Crushes and you can just gain so much memory, you just finish the game anyways against your opponents. And the end of turn losing 2 memory just doesn't matter to begin with. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, because Gravity Crush might be a little bit on the radar. Maybe Bandai's just going to keep it in check. Not too sure, but let's just move on to the next card. Like all you guys said, Mirage has to be hit. Ban Mirage, please. The meme everywhere. We've seen how incredibly strong this card is. I guess even oppressive. It really just stops a lot of decks from fundamentally being able to play. There's so many draw effects. There's so many searching effects. And being able to steal the memory and steal the turn back is just really, really difficult. There's almost like no ways to out this card unless like your deck is inherently built to have like the removal as you climb up to just get rid of it. But I feel like a lot of the bulk of the power, as we've seen from like the Mirage deck that kind of performed at Nats, like around EX7 format or even like the 2.0 format, like being able to print all that memory during your own turn is really, really nasty. It's just way too good, you know, especially if you establish like multiple copies of this card. And also the effect of just bouncing your opponent's security is almost like trashing security for this deck anyways, because you want to add cards to your opponent's hand anyways, and you're just going to gain even more value continuously nonstop off of this. Yeah, I think we definitely saw this one coming for sure. Definitely no surprise. I want to mention that right now, Mirage currently in the format is not really played too much. We didn't see it really represent much in Worlds. I think maybe, possibly, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 1 player played Mirage. But the thing is that, you know, as the meta shifts again, this card and this deck can always easily make its way back and then suddenly becoming a huge problem all over again. So my prediction, you know, for the explanation for Bandai is they would just want to hit this card outright anyways, because it kind of promotes sort of like an unhealthy play experience. So, you know, they just don't want this card to come back ever. But at least you still get to play as 1, which is, yeah, you can work around with it. Moving into the next one, we got Fenriloogamon. I think, yeah, the deck definitely also was on radar to be hit just because of the potential OTK it can go for. The damage output is just insane. I think predominantly choosing this card was pretty interesting, and I think that's also correct because, you know, it prevents your turn from ending, essentially, because, you know, you can warp the entire game mechanics. You can even kind of like warp the game rules where your turn doesn't even end if as long as the memory is not at 3 or more on the opponent's side, and you can just keep playing and just keep attacking. I can kind of see it, you know, the combo of this to bring out Kazuchi and then just go ahead and DNA is just absolutely insane. So yeah, but I don't think the deck is gonna be severely hit in terms of like, you know, we have the new 2.5 BT20 stuff that we can play with. I can see players like hooking stuff up, which is going to be pretty interesting, and we'll see that. But I think the whole idea is to sort of like, you know, hit the OTK version. We don't want that around. It promotes kind of like the Melgar vibes where, you know, you just come out as 1 stack and you just go for a ton of checks out of nowhere and your opponent can't even respond to it. And as you climb up with this build, you just get rid of everything on the board anyways. So what is Ace counter going to really do against this deck? So I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think as well about this one. Next, we have Kuzuhamon. And for those who don't know, this is a direct hit to Tau Loop specifically. Tau Loop is the sort of deck that kind of loops the rune mode again and again. I guess you're able to go into rune mode, blanket 5k, blanket 10k, or even at times blanket 15k on your opponent's side. And abusing that rune mode is just yeah, I guess it's also really insane. But I don't know if this will slow this down, because I want to bring up a topic you guys probably have seen in Worlds. Sakuya made a really, really strong appearance. Sakuya is actually just untouched at all. And Sakuya is also one of those decks that can really build a crazy board, just as crazy as Tau Loop, and they still can access into Ruin mode, and as a matter of fact, as Chaosmon Volderarm as well, to really like do a ton of damage, which can be arguably even better than Kuzuha, just because you played the full yellow archetype and tribal line in that deck as well. But anyways, Kuzuha is directly to hit Tau Loop, so no more Tau Looping. Makes sense, I guess, for sure. And yeah. Now this next one is pretty interesting. This one definitely caught me off guard, which is the both Promo Aguni and Lobo, the ones that let you warp into your Ancient Gray and your Ancient Gar for reduced costs, or just for a specific memory cost, which is pretty insane. Not reduced costs specifically. Aguni specifically for 2 cost, and then Lobo specifically just for 1 cost. Now, maybe because of everything gets hit, these decks make a huge comeback. I can see like Red Hybrid has always been a high roll deck where you can just, you know, come out similar as like Lugamon. You just do a ton of checks out of nowhere, take out your opponent's security, and they just can't do anything. Lobo, probably Ancient Guard just to keep that in check, maybe. I'm not too sure. This Lobo particularly is pretty interesting, because I know Gabu Bond plays this mainly, more so than the regular Ancient Guard deck. So I'm not too sure. I'm just really curious on Bandai's reasoning. So you guys definitely come in, let me know in the comments what you guys think about these 2 hits. But this one's definitely interesting, and I'm not too sure what to sort of like think about, aside from, you know, oh yeah, those decks might become really, really powerful because everything else gets hits. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but let me know. Next one, this is the Imperial hit, which is really interesting. They actually decided to hit the starter deck 9 Stingmon. Now, there's various, I mean, it's really one simple reason. It has that inheritable when attacking, letting you draw, and it's not once per turn. This gives the Imperial deck facilitation on a lot of draw power. They're able to draw pretty much half their deck, meaning they would have answer to almost any situation with their aces, finding any pieces that they need to get into, and having almost a perfect setup and being able to play, which is really advantageous for the deck. Aside from that, the hard play 3 costs to me feels pretty much similar to the BT12 version, because you gain that memory back, so it's almost equivalent in that sense. But I guess this one can play around memory floodgates, perhaps for that, but I really do think it's because of the draw. Now, this is really interesting as well, because I didn't expect them to hit them. I don't think anybody really expected that this card would be hit, but a lot of players are, you know, prioritizing this card in their Imperial decks just because of the draw power is just so intense, because a lot of us actually thought Davis Ken would be the main target, because it's able to let you play out your rookie for free every single turn. You get to gain memory back, strip sources, which is quite a lot for the deck as well. And especially when you establish like multiple copies of these Tamer right here, you got 2 to 3, you're pretty much almost just in a position that you for sure would be winning. But yeah, really interested to see what their take on that Stingmon is. But just so to let you guys know, Davis and Ken is left untouched. Only Stingmon is hit down to 1. And I guess me as an Imperial player, which I, you know, really like the mechanics of the deck, I guess I could be happy that Davis Ken wasn't hit. But at the same time, you know, I felt like if Davis Ken was hit, it might actually just outright like make the deck obsolete, unplayable anymore. Nobody would be playing Imperial anymore. So I'm not too sure. That's always up for discussion, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens in the meta moving forward with this card staying at 4. Now, this is basically the full screenshot of everything. Just so you guys know, the restriction update is effective. I believe it should be global because we're all unified together in March 28, 2025. And that's pretty much less than 2 weeks from now. And yeah, it's time to get cooking. It's time to start changing decks, updating, and all this stuff. But this is exactly where we're going to be sitting at. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. There's actually a few cards I want to talk about personally that I really wished would actually come off the list more so than go on the list. And I just want to talk about some of my personal stuff here, that's all. So one of my personal favorites is Gray X. I always love playing Black War Gray. It always has a special place in my heart. It's just one of being one of my personal favorite Digimon out there, or actually the favorite Digimon of all time. Now, I always really hoped that this card was going to come off, just because I felt like, you know, Black War Gray is not really played right now. War Gray in general is really not played at all. But I guess with the upcoming starter decks and the upcoming support that we're getting in the starter decks, BT21, as well as EX9, I believe, like Sinister Order, the one that's going to introduce another new Black or Gray. Maybe that's, this card would make those decks incredibly strong. We always know that, being able to Digivolve to your level 5s for effectively only 1 cost, or you reduce 1 for every color, making them incredibly cheap, is really, really powerful. It really helps you turbo. The protection effect it has underneath is always fantastic. Whatever you need to sort of, protect your stack. So I can see the reason why this can't come off, because I felt like it's really just a future proof. But personally, I just really wish, just because right now I feel like War Gray and Black War Gray, they basically haven't been in the meta game at all for a very, very long time. But we'll see. Maybe we don't need this card anymore moving forward, because with all the upcoming support, maybe it's just going to be equally as good or even better. I don't know. We'll see. Another card I personally really hope that could have came off would be Impmon from EX2. Now, I felt like because of Kuzuhamon, I was really excited to play Kuzuhamon this set, but, currently Kuzuhamon seems to be, not in the greatest spot. Like, the deck is great with all the new support from 2.5, BT20, or BT19 with the Ace, the new Impmon, the new Ayamako, which has quite a need of tools, but it's still lacking the speed, like, in comparison to many other decks. So I just felt like having that Impmon can really help, put it back up, in the radar, even playable, somewhat in the competitive scale. But we all know back then when this card was left at 4, Kuzuhamon was able to turbo out so quickly where you just start trashing opponents like security, like 2 to 3 of their security by like turn 3 or 4. I don't know. I guess it still promotes a bit of unhealthy playstyle because of Kuzuhamon being able to trash so much security is just pretty insane. That's mainly to really help turbo your mills. But I guess just in justification, I guess like if ever new Kuzuhamon support comes in, and this card was left at 4 or comes up becoming 4, I can see Kuzuhamon being way too overpowered again at that time, and then maybe they have to hit this card again, which I guess that's probably the reason why there's no way that this card is coming off. But I just felt like currently in this position and stage, I just felt like it would be nice, just because I really, really like playing Kuzuhamon as well. One of the decks I played a lot, and those are just some of my personal takes. But I understand why none of these would come off. But that basically wraps up for the banlist video, guys. Let me know in the comments on what you guys think overall. Are you guys happy? Do you guys think anything else is missed? What else should be hit? Or, what cards could come off? If you agree with me or not, let me know. Always interested to hear your thoughts. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video. And this is AVAULT signing out. Make sure to get your very own Initialized Spark collection on the AVAULT store right now, and definitely watch the latest Battle Vault episode to get exclusive discount codes for this latest drop. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.